Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of UFO Encounters and Cryptid Phenomenon. We got Russ. Hello, Russ. How are you doing?
Hi, Chris. Yeah, not too bad
Crazy
yourself.
Witch. Hello, everybody. Hello,
Pardon?
Catherine. And we got Jennifer, Roger, and Tammy. She's saying, howdy. So, yes. So, what is on our agenda today? What do you got cooking, Russ? Can you hear me?
Yeah, well, quite a lot of things. I'm trying to get this off organized and find things. I'm failing miserably, what with one thing and another. But some files the other day, looking through some files, we were talking about, some old reports of flying saucers. Uh,
Uh-oh. I think he froze up. Are you there, Russ? Yeah. Yeah, I think he froze. Hey, Russell Easterbrook. Welcome to the show, everybody. So, well, he's getting that sorted out. I guess he's been, I think G-Man probably got him. So he was getting ready to talk about some UFOs that had landed over there in UK back in 57. So let him get back into the studio here. Let's see what everybody's going on. It's hot in northern Kentucky. Kentucky. Here he comes. Let's try it again.
we've got a bad storm here, just brewing outside. Anyway, so looking at a famous case in history, UFO history, flying saucer history, going back to 1957. On the 21st of November 1957, there were three gentlemen that were at a pub, and it was near a place called Ackness, which is outside of, just across 10 mile away, Scarborough in North Yorkshire. And they're seeing this burning object coming down by this sort of these woodlands. Yeah. So they said, right, that's where it is. We'll go, because this is getting late on after the pubs are closed at about 11 o'clock. So they went to get a torch from one of the gentlemen's homes, and there was three of them in this car. So when they got to the actual woodland, which is called Silpho Moor, right, which is Silpho, Silpho. So it's Silpho Moor. It's known as the Silpho Moor flying saucer. And they got to this area, and there's like it's a bit wooded, and they were walking round, and they seen this couple, this man and woman, and they were walking out of this area, and they looked around with the torch, and they couldn't find any. Apparently,
Huh. You still there?
so apparently, what happened was they went to the papers, and they put this wanted information about this, etc. Yeah, not only did we see it, we found it, and it were a flying saucer, and it was 18 inches, only a small craft in circumference, and it looked, I can't use the image because obviously it's copyright. So this like a double tier with a little knob on the top sort of thing. And it looked like it was metal, and it weighed, I think it was 35 pounds in weight. So something 35 pounds in weight, yeah, 18 in circumference. So it'd be, like in a round disc, fairly decent to hold, but you'd be holding a bit of a weight there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would.
For something so small. Anyway, so the story goes that, that they put this advertisement in the paper, and what happened next, which is really is.
You're breaking up really bad. Are you there?
There were 17 copper sheets.
Yeah, you're breaking up real bad. We can't even hear you. Russ. Russ. Oh, Russ. Well, you must be having some heck of a storms over there for affecting your internet. Yeah, he must be. Yeah, he's freezing again. He was freezing earlier before the storm. And he said it was storming over there. I wonder if he's on Wi Fi. Here he is. He's back.
Wow. So what happened was, apparently this group of men purchased this object, this flying saucer, this metal flying saucer weighing 35 pounds in weight, and it was metal. Now, what happened? There's three different versions. It just depends what you believe and who you listen to. But the thing is, inside this was opened, and inside there were 17 very thin sheets of copper, and what it had like engraved was hieroglyphs. Right now, nobody could really read these hieroglyphs, but what happened? They called in a researcher, investigator, UFO investigator, if I remember rightly, from around the Manchester area. And I think that the determined, what it said and what have you. I won't go into what it said because it's like, yeah, okay. So the thing is, the story goes that there were three men, and they called another colleague to take part in this group because they were going in the newspapers a lot and talking, about this in the big newspapers, not only like no local newspapers. So, if I remember rightly, there was like a butcher, a baker, somebody else, and this other person, which was a solicitor. Sort of like, wow. So
And he froze, ladies and gentlemen. I
yeah,
thought he was going
so
to say the candlestick maker. Okay, you're back.
for a long time. Yeah, exactly. Like that's That's all what we're missing, you know. So the thing is, what happened to this? I mean, I'd come over here 25 years ago and I was told about, oh, there was a famous case in Scarborough. This flying saucer landed, right? And, you know, and I hadn't really heard of it as such. But when I started researching into it, apparently this flying saucer was on this a shelf for view in a fish and chip shop over here. We have fish and chip shops, you know, sort of like a takeaway, you know. And apparently it had been in there for a long time. And then one of the guys had taken it home, and then somebody had taken it, and basically it was supposed to have been scrapped, right? It was supposed to have been scrapped. You know, somebody took it to a scrapyard and sort of like, you know, got the money in weight for it, apparently. Now, some bits of it turned up in a museum down in London, and the chap were talking about it, and BBC asked me to go on and just give a quick, you know, sort of like appraisal about going over to that area and, you know, looking around and talking about it, you know, sort of like. But I mean, this had been in 1957, you know what I mean? I hadn't even been born then, you know. But it's a famous case, you know, it's a real famous case. And it made, I think it made Flying Saucer, FSR, Flying Saucer Review magazine, and a few other magazines, and it made newspapers as well around the world. Now, what they were saying was, what kind of craft could it have been? Because obviously nobody was going to be flying inside it, because it was only 18 inches, you know, circumference. And what people were saying, was it something like a drone? You know, and this is, you know, the space race by this time is like starting. So what they were saying is, could it have something to do with the Russians? And Russians always get it, though. No matter what happens, it's always them. So, or was it something which was ours, or was it the Americans? Right? Now, funnily enough, this area, which is Scarborough, there's been quite a lot happen around there, and a friend of mine, we used to go out filming quite a lot, and he filmed a flying saucer land at the outskirts of
Oh,
Scarborough, right? And this thing lights up. It's a flying saucer. We'd been watching this object for a number of nights in December, and it landed next to a campsite. And me and a friend last year went over and went to the area where it came down. Amazing place. But here is a strange thing, right? At the top of this road, and it's quite near Ackness and Silvermore, is a place. Now I've got to be a bit careful here, because it is it's a facility around there, and I spoke about this. And it's called CSO Urton Moor. And at First World War, it was a naval wireless, right, in the First World War, telegraph WT receiving station, right? And it goes. It's currently used by the GCHQ, right? And so now it changed over in 1945, when the Second World War was, taking place. And it's now then, government code and Clifford School, GC and CS. At the end of the World War II, it was the largest in terms of personnel in this station, in this type of station, and it's officially used by the
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Anyway, civilian short wireless service.
You're froze again. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I've posted the Facebook group. I think it's where he posted the video, Crazy Witch. I put the link out there for you. So, are you back for us?
Yeah, so this is so it's a fairly secret base, and it's got all sorts of these like antennas, all around it, and there's a massive area, and there's a lot of like car park and what have you, but everybody says it goes underground. So it's a secret facility, and you can't stop, and you can't take pictures, photographs. I was going to do one for my book, but I thought better of it. You know what I mean? Because when you start playing around and taking photographs, and it says don't take photographs, you're on a sticky wicket straight away. You know what I mean? So it's like there's certain words you don't use on here, and YouTube you keep away, because you know that it will bring down on your shoulders, sort of thing.
Right.
So yeah. So the thing is, we've got this sort of like secret naval listening station, right? Yeah. And then what we've got another RAF base around here, Staxton Wold, with no runway, and that moved from the place at Bridlington I was telling you about, where there was a pilot, an American exchange pilot over here, chasing a UFO, he says, and basically went into the sea and never found. When they pulled the plane out, he hadn't ejected, and the harness was intact, but there were no pilot. And that's this. A lot of people around here, I was told, call it RAF filing, which is disused, and some very strange goings on, apparently. Sort of like, and it's very close to where this cryptic's been seen. This sort of like dogman, this creature, which was seen over there. And also there's been things seen over at Staxton Wold. There's been a golden flying saucer landed just outside the gates in 1960. And then we've got this famous flying saucer just up the road, more or less, landed. And then we've got this other place, you know, the listening station. And then what we've got is, we used to have something up there, and it was like golf ball shape buildings with these antennas inside. And now we've got a pyramid there instead.
Huh.
And that's called RAF Filingdale.
That's
So
interesting.
it's like this big pyramid with a circle. And also, if I remember rightly, investigator years ago were talking about a flying saucer landing behind that area, which is a woodland again. It goes for miles in Scarborough, and apparently, if I remember right, that the sort of like did a bit of hasty work, and what they did, they got a digger straight in, and they dug, and they basically shoved the flying saucer into an hole and covered it over, and they told people to keep out. And I don't know whether it's still there or not, you know. But this is years ago. I'm talking. I think some.
Yeah, you stop. We don't know what year you said.
Maybe 25 years ago, when I heard this story about that. Say again, sorry, Chris.
You were breaking up. You froze again.
Oh, right. So we've got, you know, quite a big area of interest across here, where there seems flying saucers land.
Are you with us? Well, he must be having some heck of a storms. Usually, he's a little bit choppy, but usually not that kind of choppy. So, but it sounds like he's got a quite a stretch there from 57 to 69 of UFO landings in the UK. Here he comes. All right.
Wow. Yeah, so it would appear that again this area, there's a lot going on. You know, there's listening stations, secret listening stations. We've got RAF bases. We've got RAF bases moving, you know, from one place 15 miles across, you know, to a different part. This abandoned RAF station, which is apparently very spooky. Very spooky. I wouldn't personally go in it. I went once with a friend, and I won't go back. Which is close to Bridlington and this area where this dogman's been seen. You know, and then we've got Filey, where the flying triangles have come out of the sea. The other craft have been seen, and then again up to Arkness, where they found this 18-inch flying saucer. Now, the thing is, I remember I did a talk, and somebody gave me, I think it was a magazine, and what had happened was they'd had this analysed. They had this saucer analysed, and the thing was, it was made out of grown metal. The grew the metal So it wasn't normal metal. It was actually grown.
Huh.
You know, a little bit like liquid metal. Not exactly, but not far off. And
Wow.
this is in 1957. So we're talking about technology, and it looked like it had been, you know, sort of like sandwiched down and pressed, and the bottom looked like it had been sort of like you know, sort of like fitted. You know what I mean? But it was supposed to be grown metal, and it went to I think it went to some kind of lab back then. You know, this chap took it to a, you know, science department, and what he said was, because what they said was that these blokes had made it. The story had gone, oh, it were a hoax. Someone said it were a hoax, and what the analyst came back, you know, like, and said this is what it was. And the chap had said, well, look, you know, you're not gonna build this in, you know, Joe Bloggs's garage, are you? You know what I mean? Or, you know, you're not gonna be building this in, you know, John Smith's back, you know, sort of like shed. This thing was sort of like pristine made, and it was grown metal. So what was this doing? And the thing is, right, yeah, if it were military, wouldn't you have thought that the military would have known that they'd lost, whether it was some kind of drone? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because someone said they might have been testing it, you know, up there, you know, sort of like up on Mars and what have you. And remember, like I said, there's all these various installations around there, you know, sort of like military, RAF, etc. You know, you would have thought that if they'd have lost something, they'd have been there first to find it, wouldn't you?
Right.
You
Yes.
know, not sort of like a man and woman out walking, you know, sort of like at about 11 o'clock at night. You know what I mean? It's sort of like it beggars belief. So, you know, the question is, you know, yeah, nobody knows. That's a big question. What makes the crop circles? Could it be small, like drones, like flying saucers? Could it be like that you see these two? I don't like calling them orbs. Everybody calls, you know, everything's an orb, even though they're circular, you know, shaped objects. What, you know, sort of being caught going round in a crop circle, making a crop circle. There's a lot of people dispute, you know, sort of like the validity of the video and say, oh, well, you know, like the chap said, and he made a good point, and you did. There's only one person that knows if that video that you've taken that's been shown, right, yeah, is real or not. You know what I mean? There's only one person that truly knows. And that's the person that's taken the video footage or photograph. You know?
Yeah, but the technology back then existed for him to have possession of that technology to hoax that video? That's my question. Because it seemed pretty real to me. I mean, I'm not saying it's real or fake, but I don't know. He froze again.
Yeah, I think it sounds like we've just got real bad storms coming. Sorry about that.
It happens. But that's my question. That's what I want to know. So, are you there? Yeah, he froze again. But I remember the video he's talking about where somebody captured the two flying balls in the air, making the crop circles, allegedly. Gosh, that was years ago. But did he actually have technology? Did he have access to technology back then? Or was it an old chap that was just out there at the camcorder at the time, that got lucky and actually caught it? Because I have not seen any other phenomenon caught before on video when it come to crop circles, besides people out there in the middle of the dark drinking with coat hangers around their heads and the little circles fixing themselves on a light. Were there any report or crop circles nearby when it was found? I have to ask him about that. Because the thing was about crop circles is that they said man made them, but the difference was with crop circles, the distinguish between the ones that were man-made and the ones that said that were not man-made were the combustion. Or Jennifer, help me out. Where they were heated inside and they popped from the inside out. I forgot what it was called. The center pod was combusted from the heat and then the radiation. It wasn't trampled down. It was like it was exposed from heat from within. So yes, you've seen that footage. So there was a question. Were there any other reports of crop circles nearby when that footage was found? Can you not hear me?
Hi, sorry. What are you saying? Sorry.
I said, were there any other footage of crop circles nearby when that footage was found? Yes, the nodes. Thank you, Crazy Witch.
This was back in 57.
No, the crop circles with the two balls flying around where the old chap caught it.
Right. Hang on. I've lost my trainer. Was there any what, sorry, when it was?
The guy that filmed the two circles, the flying circles, that made the crop circles.
Right.
You remember the video footage you was just talking about?
Yeah, that's been widely shown on sort of like TV.
Yeah, but look how long ago that was.
Oh, yeah, it was quite some time ago now.
But my question is, did he have access to technology to fake that? And the other question was, somebody asked, was there any other crop circles around that area at the same time?
I'm just trying to think what... I think if I remember rightly, somebody did say that, that they thought it was made. They thought it had been made by, sort of like, what is it, computer aided designer or something. And I mean, the thing is, it's at that time of year and it's down, sort of like Wiltshire around there, where, a lot of there's been a lot going on every year. I mean, we haven't heard as much, sort of like I haven't heard as much.
That's not the question. There has not been another footage besides that ever been caught that anything made crop circles.
No.
And we were talking to ones that have been man-made while you were gone, have been trampled, and the other ones, the nodes, have exploded from the heat within, plus the radiation. So we can tell which ones have been man-made, like she said, done from trampling down by feet. So we can tell the difference. Because, you know, some of these are so extravagant. We know man didn't make those. Come on.
Well, I think I remember, well, this is at least 15 years ago, where somebody that I knew had been down and had filmed, I think it was one of the largest ever crop circle formations. So this wasn't just a crop circle, this were a crop circle formation. And if I remember rightly, it was called Eastfield. And I'm sure there was something like 97 circles in this formation, right? It was something, you know, and the size of that crop circle formation was, I think it was one of the largest that had ever been made. Now, the thing is, you know, sort of like, it's going to take an army of people, you know, hours. And I don't think, you know, sort of like, and remember, even if you've got a little bit of light, you know, sort of like, you know, I don't think it's all right making a circle and you know, like with boards and what have you. But when you start getting onto more than one and then going into formations, you know what I mean? It's like, no. How would you know? You know what I mean? How could you tell?
You can tell. You can tell the real from the fakes, because the fakes
No, I
were
mean,
laid
how can
down.
you tell how can you tell where
The
you are
fakes
at night?
the fakes were laid down, the pressed down, and the real ones were combusted from the nodes from the inside
Oh, I
out.
know that. Yeah,
That's how we can tell
got,
the reals from the fakes.
yeah, I've been on quite a
That's what I'm saying, and then that's what they're saying in the audience.
Circle. Well,
so yeah. But there has not been another video ever been made of another crop circle that has been caught on video besides that one.
That's right. No, there hasn't been. But the thing is, you know, I don't even know whether they knew exactly what field it was in. You know what I mean? Because it's like a lot of these programs, it'll come up and it'll show you, you know, this was sent in. But that's all you'll get. You know what I mean? You won't get any other information, you know, sort of like who sent it, where was it, you know what I mean? And it never tells you. And I don't think, you know, to be quite honest, that there were a lot of information came out about it. Apart from
He froze again, ladies and gentlemen. Fixing my tens unit. They give me some shot for my back. But yeah, but that's one of the ways that I know. And yeah, crazy with some of it was woven together. But once again, but the nodes were exploded from within out, and the other ones was crushed. But you know, I cannot tell if that video was fabricated, but that's the only video that was ever published. And I don't even think that we even know who the video was, Did we ever find out who the video came from that recorded the two balls that made the...
Someone, I remember someone saying that they thought it was a company, a small a graphics company what someone had suggested it was. But, sort of like,
another
nobody
G-Man
ever
cover
came
up,
forward.
probably.
Nobody came forward.
Yeah.
Not that I
Okay.
can remember.
Right. Yeah. So probably another G-Man cover up, throwing it out there, trying to throw everybody off the trail, probably. Because, I mean, to me, it looked legit. I mean, back then, the technology, was it available? Probably was. But it looked like somebody got fed up and was just out there filming and got lucky. To me, that's what it looked like. It looked like it wasn't staged, but who knows? I'm not a professional.
I'm just trying to think, Chris. Do I remember somebody saying that a farmer in a tractor had gone past? Didn't a chap on a tractor go past
So
a
one of
farmer?
the farmers got mad because, well, not one, but a lot of farmers over there in your all's country were getting upset because it was costing them money. And they were blaming people doing stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And then they got real elaborate, and they were like, and people were like, that was us. We did that with coat hangers, and they were trying to demonstrate it in the middle of the night. And then they would do one, but it would not look like the ones that we would see from the air. And it's like, yeah, you really did that, something that extravagant. Yeah, okay. With coat hangers, and you fixed your coat hanger with that little wire on that little porch light 3 miles away. No.
Have you ever been in a crop circle, Chris?
No, I wish I was.
No. I've been in a few. I was showing you. These are some of the crop circles, and the thing is, when you're inside them, you can see. This is before I became ill and sort of thing. But when you go inside them, sometimes you get this very strange feeling. Like it's electric. You can walk out of it and you're okay. But when you go in, you feel like you're electrified.
Wow.
Sometimes you can go in another and you feel the opposite. You feel a different feeling, not electric. You feel dull, a right dull feeling, sort of like. And then there's somewhere, you just go and you don't feel anything. But if you're going and out of you listen as well to the sky. And when you go in, you can't hear birds singing and stuff.
Really?
But when you come out, you can. Yeah, yeah.
And Crazy
Because
Wit
we
says
took,
he hears
back
he heard
then.
the people describe the same feeling.
Well, that's right. Yeah, sort of like it just depends on people's bodies as well. What they're feeling, maybe what mood temperament they have. But I mean, we've gone in with tape recorders, just basic tape recorders and stuff. And one of my friends took in a radio, and it was just on white noise to see, and a recorder to see, and and he got something going boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? There was some pulsing coming through. Sort of like flipping heck. Really, like I say, unless you've been in them, you just sort of like you won't realize. But some people say as well they can cause mood swings.
Yeah, I heard that too.
I have heard there was a story that I heard about somebody that being out there, and there was sort of like a lot of hostility as well. A lot of people hostile around in some of these places, as if you weren't wanted. You know, you turn up and you know, sort of like it's like if you're not from that area and you turn up, you know, like ooh, you know, like you they make it, you know, they sort of like make it known that you're not wanted there, if you know what I mean. So, but yeah, I mean, the thing is, you know, uh, uh,
And there he goes again. I don't know why the people in UK has these problems. Hey there, Gary. Welcome to the show. Talking about crop circles now. He's actually been in the crop circles. He's talking about his experience and everything. I would love to be in a crop circle. I would love to probably take a lot of scientific instruments with me, especially today's instruments, and see what happens. I know they did a lot of it back then. Jennifer, what's your take on them? I would love to have them, you know. So, but people hearing stuff and not hearing stuff, it sounds almost like a portal. You back?
I'm back.
All right.
Yeah. But like, you know, it's like when you're investigating UFOs and, you know, the paranormal, you know, sort of like you can be sort of like, especially the time of year, you know, for crop circling, there might be quite a lot of crop circles made. And, you know, there might be like 500 miles away. You know, some might be more local. I'm lucky because we had some about 150-mile away and some about 50-mile away when, you know, I went out crop circling. But, you know, if you're not from that area, it's
Lost him again. Stingray, how'd you make a crop circle? Was you running around with the coat hanger on your head? So I've seen that edition where people, fake the crop circles. I've seen that edition on TV. Are you back, Russ?
yeah. What were you saying? Sorry.
I'm just waiting on you.
Yeah, I'm back.
I was talking.
Yeah, I'm just saying it costs a lot of money, you know, sort of like if you're doing, you know, investigating this, investigating that, you know, just the fact that, you know, driving around and going to areas and investigating, it gets expensive when you're looking at hundreds of miles, you know, yourself, petrol, you know, fuel and what have you, you know, sort of like, and now look at it now. The poor guys and, you know, women, investigating, you know, it must cost a fortune.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
mean, heck, anymore people charge you just to even go to their place to even investigate.
Yeah, you're looking at at least $50 a person, usually. You know what I mean?
That's
And
on the
then you've
low
had to get
side.
there. Pardon?
That's on the low side. That's not
Oh
counting your
yeah, but
room and
I'm
board,
just
your
saying
food, and all that
that's
other
just
stuff. Yeah.
yeah, that's just for the to go in entrance fee. So you know, sort of like, and as an hobby, it's a heck of a costly affair. You know, this is why I'm all right with my camera. I just stick my camera on and go out, sit outside, and sort of like wait for them to turn up now. You know,
Right. Yeah. But what I
photos.
wonder that's what I was asking. I would love to take scientific equipment with me now, especially the new equipment that they have out, the new technology they have available to some of the crop circles. So
Yeah, well, I mean, these guys weren't cowboys, when they were going out, they were taking recorders with them. They were taking, sort of like out of phase radios and what have you to create white noise. And they were taking meters to see what, sort of like if there were any volts or, sort of like any power, sound equipment, sort of like they did to the best of their ability, to be quite honest. Because I turned up and we just had basic equipment, But the thing is, you could feel it, you could sense it. You know what I mean? You could feel it when you walked in. You could feel like power, energy, and and then you felt negative. You felt the opposite in some of them, and some you just had no feeling at all. You just went in, some you'd go in, you could hear birds when before you went in. When you were inside,
Jennifer, it's been if being in one feels like I went through the pour out the pond. No thanks. Yeah, right. Okay, you're back.
I was looking on one of these pictures because one of these photographs, there was an area where there'd been a building in the distance, and there were 3 flying saucers supposed to have hovered over this big building where these crop circles were, sort of like, and that's the one I was looking for. But as usual, yeah, but you can, it's like you were saying that the crop circles are like laid down, but they're done in such a way that it's like they're melted over. You know what I mean? You just melted over into the shape. Not being pushed. You're just, like you say, with these nodes. Some people said that it was equivalent to like radio waves. You know what I mean? Sort of like you put radio waves on, and it sort of like makes them expand and what have you.
Right.
You know, but again, talking about using technology, we take technology with you and what have you, and taking the meters, the same meters what they're using in ghost hunting and what have you to see, if there's what kilohertz they are around, sort of like, and it tells you what waves they are, if they're, microwaves, etc. And if they're harmful, you, you know,
Hmm. And he's gone again. Yeah, because I think they did when he said radio waves. I know they did some test on them, and they were talking about I forgot how many kilowatts of microwaves, like microwaves, it took them to explode the nodes on some of those. So yeah, welcome back.
that's right. I tell you what, I tell you what, no, and there were a cattle that had died, and I remember seeing something at Skinwalker Ranch, and they said that this cattle had died, and they put the frequency meter, and they said, this is get out of there because it's dangerous levels. And the thing, what it can cause is your blood to curdle. you know.
Yeah.
It can cause your lungs. It can cause your blood and what have you to thicken, and your lungs to fill and what have you. And there's what the heck? There's a name for it now. What happens to humans? And it happened in this actual cow. The same thing. Is it thrombosis? It's like and that can be caused by these radio waves. You know.
Yeah, I believe in frequencies and
So
vibrations. So yes.
you've got to be careful. You've got
Yeah,
to
I
be
believe
careful
in
because I
those.
mean, pardon?
So I believe in frequencies and vibrations. Yes, I do.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Then again, we only had the basic stuff back then. This is like 20 years ago. And 22 years ago. Like you say, now we've got some of the new technology. Some of these new handheld, sort of like gadgets, and amazing. But I think we did as best what we had.
Right.
Taking photographs, showing how the actual, the crops had been sort of like placed down, and what have you.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that really sold me on a lot of the stuff was how you can tell the difference between the real crop circles between the fake ones is how, like he was saying, how they were laid downs and in the nodes, how they were exploded from within and exploded outward. So from the microwave waves and whatnot, and I think some of the crop circles too actually had uh, radiation that they picked up in some of the crop circle formations too. So yeah, I'm gonna start calling you Houdini. Keep coming in and out. So yeah. So and that's what made me a firm believer about the crop circles because I've seen the videos where people faked them and stuff, but once they did the scientific test on the ones that were fake and the ones that weren't, and they show the difference, then and they couldn't replicate the difference between the two, then yeah, then that sold me. And that and in the designs on them, I mean, man cannot replicate some of those designs. So that was another part of it too for me. That's for sure. Are you back with us now?
I'm back.
I'm gonna start calling you Houdini.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah. So anyway, yeah.
you froze again on us, but you don't hear about crop circles anymore. Do they still go on, Russ? I don't know if you can hear me or not. Jennifer, do we have I know Jennifer says we have them out west. Do we still have them to this day, crop circles? I know we're doing a show tonight on cattle mutilation. Are you with us now, Russ? So that's one thing that I would like to know is if we're still having the crop circles. That I don't know. That's something I wouldn't mind checking out and see if we actually are still having them. I mean, it's just awful strange if it just quit. So that would be strange. Yeah, we are still having them, but they're really not talking about much anymore. I wonder why that is. I don't know. Some of them thought there were hidden messages. Just like what was those ones? The Aztec, Gremlins man got Russ. I think G-Man's getting a hold of Russ. NASDAQ lines or whatever ones you can see from the air. All right, welcome back. Are you still all having crop circles over there in the UK? Are you still having crop circles over there in the UK, Russ? Can you hear me? I guess he can't hear me. Jennifer says she saw 2 new ones reported found August 3rd this year in Australia. Pretty cool. In Australia. Well, that's interesting. So Crazy Witch says something to do with geometry, maths, frequency, and vibration. Yes, I do agree with that as well. So yeah, there's something going on. Russ, do you still have crop circles in you okay? Can you hear me? I guess he can't hear me, but yeah, I mean I can hear him clicking. There he goes again. That's interesting. I wonder why they don't talk about him much anymore. Oh, we do have some. That's interesting. I guess we just write them off as human beings anymore. As I know a lot of college kids took credit for the ones I don't know what country. So they call it the flying saucer nest. So yeah, that is kind of strange. Well, I'd like to know what Russ says about it though. And tonight at 6 o'clock, we got coming up at 6 p.m. Eastern time. We got Angela Ford, we got Peter Marks, and Kelly Joe. All we're going to be on the same show at once, so that's going to be an interesting show. So it's going to be interesting. So we're going to go ahead and call the show. So from coast to coast and around the world, we'll see you here in 54 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Godspeed. Take care. See you shortly. Bye-bye.